JP.
Right, hello there, everyone. Welcome back to James Redmond TV, the home of all of your Liverpool news and updates, where we analyse all the Twitter spaces and what's going on. Now, news has just broke, and it's regarding Andre. So it's a midfielder, and it's one that we've been linked with throughout the summer. It's kind of been one of those names where it's like, are we going to stay in the market for this dude? Is he good enough? Some people say we need to go into the South American market and shop there more. But then when you see some of the prices from this, so for instance, Enzo Fernandez, there was a time where he was once worth 15 million opposed to 105 million. And we were offered him. We said no. And then you think about Julian Alvarez, he was 15 to 20 million. And what happened? That was also a deal that I think a couple of teams turned down. I don't know if Julian Alvarez was, in fact, involved in the deal regarding us and Enzo Fernandez, but we tend to know that it's a cheaper market and we can still get high quality. In fact, you can get some of the best players of all time from there. If you think about the greatest of the greats, think about the Pelés, the Maradonas, the Lionel Messis, whatever your era, it usually comes from that part of the world, so it's a good place to scout. But Andre's been the one for us, and the thing is, the one thing that I think makes a few fans more negligent before we get into the news is the price tag. The price tag's a little bit higher for someone who might not be what we call European proven, right? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. If you can smash a like, that'd be great. If you don't like the video, then it doesn't make sense to do that. So I'd encourage you, smash a dislike and leave me a little bit of feedback on why you didn't like the video. So big up to all the chat. But first and foremost, before I say hello to you guys, I do want to share with you the news and the updates. There's 300 people in here, so big up. But the news that I want to get into first, according to Emmanuel Louise, says Liverpool have already sorted part of the process to sign Andre from Fluminense. Liverpool stepping up Andre interest, blah, blah, blah. Also, just a little bit of context here. Fluminense played their Copa Libertadores, the second leg on deadline day. If they were to get eliminated, it could still be possible to complete a deal this summer. Remains unlikely, and it will be a race against the clock. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to play this video from Emmanuel Louise. It's only a 1-minute video. He will give you more details on the transfer more than me. And yeah, let me know if you can hear it well, chat, because obviously if you can't hear it, then that's important. You won't be able to hear that. So I'll put that there. Let's go.
United went to Andre's camp to talk with them about a possible negotiation right now. What they said, the player has personal terms agreed with Liverpool, right? Personal terms already agreed. That's done. The player said to Fluminense, what? And I was talking with you before the interview. The situation was, today I called some guys that are close to Andre from the players' camp, and they said to me, Andre said to Fluminense, I want to go to Liverpool. Okay? I want to go. I have personal terms agreed. That's fine. But what Fluminense said, okay, but we are not going to sell right now because of Copa Libertadores. That we already know. Andre said, okay, so I'm going to talk to them.
So to briefly sum that up, let me just watch the
Manchester United went to Andre's camp.
So Manchester United inquired about Andre, and I think this is how the gentleman's found out.
To talk with them about a possible negotiation.
So United trying to swoop in one of our players. Chat, come on, can we get an L in the chat for Manchester United? Is it money Mace good enough for you? Come on. What happened to Amrabat? I thought you swooped us for Amrabat and Mason Mount. Come on.
Right now, what they said, the player has personal terms agreed.
So the club's already letting them know, and Andre's representatives is letting them know, like, listen, we've already got personal terms agreed. So, chat, I would need to analyse who is this dude. Is he credible enough? Whatever have you. But if he does have those sources, then this is really interesting stuff. Now, the tweet that I was also going to read before regarding, could it be done this summer? Will it be done in the winter? Because that's also very important, chat. You know what I mean? We need to analyse the fact that it might not be done straight away, but we can get it done all in due course. So if I just share that screen one more time so you can see it, you'll see here it says they play the Copa Libertadores, so that's like their Champions League, I believe. Might be wrong. The second leg on deadline day. So on deadline day, if they were to get eliminated, it could still be possible to complete a deal this summer. It remains unlikely, and it would be a race against the clock. So Liverpool would have a very stressful deadline day, aiming to get that done. But then you think about the benefits. If Jurgen Klopp really rates Andre, and you think, okay, then, well, could we benefit with a dude that, because everyone's aligning with the fact Endo is a Klopp player. That's the narrative right now. Endo is a Klopp player, and if Klopp trusts him, we trust the manager, even though we might not know much about this dude. So before we get into the Andre compilations, because best believe, chat, we're going to be getting into those, it's important to note that there's no guarantee on whether this will be done in the summer or if we could just get the deal done for January by the time January arrives. Either way, I think if he's a priority for Jurgen Klopp, he's been someone who's been shortlisted by the club for a while. Well, I think that's somebody that we should act on fairly soon. And I think the sooner that we act on this transfer, the absolute better, because then you think about Gakpo, you think about Luis Diaz. These were players that we signed in January, and you do think there sometimes, like, chat, can you imagine if we had Gakpo from the start of last season? It could have been the difference between third place and fourth place. It could have been the difference between fourth and fifth. Might have got us those extra couple of points. The win streak happened when Gakpo came in. Think about the quadruple chasing season when we got Diaz. You're thinking, well, if we had Diaz from get-go, it's an extra bit of quality up front that we were clearly lacking from the start. It was just something that players like Minamino couldn't provide. And, that's why even Tottenham tried to swoop in for him. So I think Liverpool, although it's great and we have some great January transfer windows, and I do think it's important to strengthen in January, I think the business we tend to do in January is the business that we should have already got done by the summer. Chat, do you agree with that? WRL. But that's the summary of the news. So personal terms are agreed according to close sources from Andre's camp. Manchester United tried to inquire for Andre, trying to do a little swoop-in deal, in which they were told, well, Andre's actually favoured in Liverpool right now. The only question remains, will it get done this summer? If it does get done, it'll be done on deadline day. If it doesn't, then we'll have to wait till January. The fee, chat, you'll need to let me know more about the fee. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think that'll be something that we'll need to have a conversation about. Gravenberch is a lightweight. Well, I'm interested, chat. Do you think if we do get the deal done with Andre, so it doesn't mean even if we acquire him for the summer, because bear in mind, you analyse our current midfield options. You've got Sobo, McAllister, Thiago, Bajcetic. I'm including CDMs as well. Curtis Jones, Harvey Elliott. So that's 6 centre midfielders as it is, and I'm missing a name or two off the tip of my tongue. So that's why I'm sitting there thinking, well, do you think that the manager will just think we can handle that till January, and we can go out and get Andre in January? And then that means there's a less of an incentive to go and spend 30 to 40 million euros on Gravenberch. But chat, I need to analyse how old is Andre, because I don't even know his age, and there's still a lot that I need to learn about the player before I sit there and say, yeah, man, I'll take him on board, because there's still a lot of questions to ask, because if he's not as old as Gravenberch, for instance, are you thinking, well, did we maybe go out there and get Gravenberch and see if Jurgen Klopp can work with him a little bit more? Because that's also a big factor. That really is a big factor. No, not Andre Wisdom. Come on. Right. What's his full name? It's Andre. Look, probably told me this by now. He's 23 years of age. So he's 22 years of age. So he's actually a fairly experienced player then, chat, no? WRL, are you taking him? My man, Diju. Oh, sorry, sir. I'm struggling to say that name just because I can't read. Andre is very good, he says. I hope he is. I really hope he is. 25 million bids rejected due to Fluminense's unwillingness to sell right now. Okay, so yes, it does seem that maybe the Copa Libertadores could have an impact on this. If it doesn't, well, then that means that we'll probably have to wait till January to get the deal over the line. You know what I mean? Someone has just asked in the chat, have we signed him? No, Joseph, we have not signed him. But according to sources close to his camp, personal terms are agreed. And we know this because Manchester United tried to inquire about him, which means that it's looking good from the personal side of things. But how many times this summer have we had personal terms already agreed and then it hasn't quite gone our way? I think Klopp really favours Andre. I really do. I analysed the links with Gravenberch, And I don't really think that Klopp is highly interested. And then I don't think the club's highly interested enough. Maybe they're also thinking Bayern's kind of indecisive on whether or not they want to sell them. Do we want to spend this much money for a player who's only played, I think in total, like if you include all of his minutes, it's the equivalent of 12 games over the past 12 months. So you're thinking to yourself, is that a player that we really want? A lot of things make sense about Gravenberch, but then you're thinking 22 years of age. 34 million release clause, chat. Can we say that Andre's the fit? Because that's 34 million pounds, you know? Gravenberch's a Euros thing, you know what I'm saying? Like 30 to 40 million euros. I have heard here, oh yeah, this is interesting. You seem to be knowledgeable on the topic, dude. You're saying Fulham and Barcelona, we're also after him. And Fulham have got a good recruitment team when it comes to identifying players. And then Barcelona, they're probably open for them South Americans in the team, make it a bit more spicy. You know what I mean? If Andre comes, I'd be made up, says Jack. Andre was the one I wanted. From start, fair dues. I'm probably going to see a lot more from him in the comp that I'm about to put on, but I just want to get some of your opinions as well, which I think is important. Andre is a very gifted player. All be happy if we get him. Chat, if you had to describe him, is he box to box? Is he more defensive, more offensive, or just a well-rounded player in general? Because I think we need more well-roundedness right now. And if he's going to come into the team, he's going to need to add to the defensive aspect. And I do think, based on profile, he'd probably be happy to be a backup if he's an 8. If he's a CDM, then him and Enzo can just compete for them spots, I suppose. You know what I'm saying? I personally think, says Essex, he says, we should put the resources into a left centre-back position now. And Andre, in January, I'd like us to take a punt on Bastoni. So Bastoni would be a very tough one because you know what I say, Essex? I say that we don't usually analyse in a certain market. There's just some fields that we don't look into. You've got the field of really, really world-class players, and then you've got the field of meaty footballers, and we just tend to fall into the latter. You know, when I say meaty, I'm more saying the upcoming gems, the ones who are more unproven. You know what I'm saying? If he really is that good, he'd have been snapped up by Madrid or Barca years ago. Now, that's a very, very, very flawed statement. Let me tell you why, Jason. There's so many players who came from Brazil at the latter age or post 22, 23 and did really, really well. And chat, I'm sure, hopefully you guys can provide me some answers and some examples here. But come on, like we can't say the definitive premise on whether someone's good or not. Because if you use that for N'Golo Kante when he was 23 in the French 4th division, well, then now you're neglecting what ended up being a World Cup winner, Champions League winner, Europa League winner, Premier League winner, 2 times, one with Leicester. Literally one of the greatest players that you will ever see grace the Premier League. So when you use that same precedence for someone like Andre, I'm not saying he's going to be the next Kante, but you just can't say because he hasn't been snapped up, that's why he's not good. Maybe we've just found a gem. You know what I'm saying? Not everyone's going to be a Neymar. Not everybody is going to be a Neymar. That's just the way it is. Shout out to Jack again. He says, Andre, Sobo, Macher, and Enzo is a great rebuild. I think it's a fine rebuild. I'd still say it's underwhelming to some degrees, but am I willing to back the manager and his process with that rebuild? Of course, because it's bodies. And above anything else, I don't care if it's my players or not. I just care about it being good enough and something for Klopp to work with. If you give something for Klopp to work with, then you're getting good results 9 times out of 10. So we just need to hope that the club and the manager have identified the correct players. Big shout out to Devil X. He says, can we afford to go half a season with no other DM waiting on Andre? Well, chat, aren't you worried about just getting your targets later on in the season when, we needed a left winger the season we got Diaz, but we got him in January. We needed an attacker in Gakpo, but we got him in January. I think that we are sometimes negligent on getting these deals done as soon, and we overlook the positives and the value of getting them soon as possible. Does that make sense? So yeah, lazy comment. Not everyone is amazing at 16. That's what I thought. Felt like a bit of a lazy opinion, suggesting like just because he hasn't gone to Real Madrid means he's not going to be good enough for us. There's probably countless examples who maybe disprove this. Andre in a centre-back would be a good one. And I think we got a goal player in the next window. We would be title contenders and would. And what happened to the red card? So we will talk on the red card at the end. What I want to do first, chat WRL, should we watch an Andre compilation? Should we have a look at how good the player is and if he's going to adhere to the system? Bajcetic is also back. That is right. I wish he got a little cameo against Bournemouth. It would have been nice to see. I do think there's an argument he could be the strongest CDM right now, but does his quality already bring us what we need, and does it outweigh what Enzo can offer? Can Enzo be that guy in the short term until the likes of Andre comes? And think about it, it makes a lot of sense because I believe in December or January, Endo has to go away on international break. It's not like AFCON, it's like the Asian Cup or something. I might be wrong. But that means that Endo won't be available in January, which means it actually makes sense. Endo comes in, Andre goes out. So maybe the club aren't going to be in a rush to actually let go of the player. Maybe they'll be like, well, or the club won't be in a rush to get the player, should I say. So they might not do the rushing around on deadline day. You know what I'm saying, chat? I really was hoping for Takore, only because he is already in the Premier League, not saying he's better. Do you know what I'll say to that, Angel Wings? If you're saying only because he's in the Premier League and that's why you want him above the other targets, I would encourage you to go and look at the player's attributes and the resume and what does he have to offer. Because Premier League proven solely isn't good enough. Because off that premise, we should have got Mason Mount above Szoboszlai. So I'm not saying you apply that logic to everything, but I'm just saying think a little bit wider in this instance, because then that means we should have got Mason Mount, and I think we're all happy we got Szoboszlai above Mason Mount. But the chat's very happy to see an Andre compilation, as am I. I want to see our new baller. And again, deal's not fully done. According to really good sources, that the deal personally agreed between the player and the club. Now it's just about agreeing that fee, which I don't think we're in a rush to do. Which, if he is a priority target, last thing before I play the comp, if he's a priority target for the club, we need to be careful with that, because again, remember what happened with Lavia. Personal terms agreed, this, that, and the other. You need to make sure you have both personal terms and the club agreed. Otherwise, you'll have clubs like Man United, who reportedly were swooping in, and that's how we found out this information. They might swoop in and offer them superior wages or offer the club a superior fee, which is unlikely. I think 34 million, I doubt it goes much higher than that, but it's still one to question. So I'm just loading up the comp now, chat. I'm going to make sure that the audio isn't on, because then that's, I'm asking for frigging copyright if that's the case. Oh no, not the end of the video. I didn't mean that. Right, let me get that back to the start. Pause. And let me just share that screen with you beautiful people. And let's have a look at our new baller. If we can smash those likes, chat, that'd be grand. Because, I can't do these streams without you guys, you know what I mean? So it's one of those things, when you're liking the stream, you're letting me know, hey, James, this is actually all right. You're not wasting your time doing this YouTube stuff. Maybe you shouldn't stick to this day job, you know what I mean? And I'm also going to be cautious and put it on like a slightly smaller screen. Because, copyright's a bitch, bro. Copyright's a bitch. But anyway, let's have a look at our star boy. 22 years of age. Has played the majority of his career in the Brazilian league. But I think he can do a job. He looks like he's got a nice ping on him already. Because this is the thing. There's two questions you need to raise. Is the ability good in a five-a-side game, or if he's just doing passes with his mates, does he look good? And then can he apply it in the game? He's also Marcelo's teammate, which is interesting. Oh, chat, did you see the broken leg that Marcelo caused the other week? When I saw it, I laughed dead nervously, because, obviously in the UFC, you see stuff like that sometimes and you think, oh. But when it happens in football, you're like, that was just never meant to happen. And Marcelo clearly didn't mean it. But he spreads the ball well. I actually think he's got that on the ball. He's interested. He's an interesting passer, chat. When it comes to passing the ball, he is interesting. He seems like someone who might be able to do it with both feet. He seems predominantly right-footed, don't get me wrong. But in terms of that's, deep-lying playmaker or somebody who's going to try and find the attackers in and behind, you seem like this would suit us very well. If you were to move, because you're onto Salah's new role as well, chat, you're thinking, well, Salah, if he's constantly making those runs in the inverted right wing role like he used to, then this could be a player that massively adheres to the system. You know what I'm saying? Geez, you saying that he's 30, chat? You saying that he's a 30 dude? I think he's a 30 dude as well from his passing ability, because again, chat, you've got to analyse attributes. There will be people who's disappointed in this due to the fact that, they have such high expectations for ownership, and, high expectations for who Liverpool should be signing. The only time you can truly judge these players is when they've played, really. You can have your suspicions based on their ability, but I think if you have your suspicions based on resume, then you wouldn't have liked any of the players that we signed. Alisson weren't a winner. Van Dijk weren't a winner. Mane, Salah, all those players weren't a winner when we signed them. These are the profile in which we go for. You know what I'm saying? That's like even me with Nunes. You'll go, James, you never gave Nunes a chance. But it's because I looked at his attributes. So that's why I'll sit there now and I'll say I'm still going to give him a chance, even though I don't think it might go well. And the same people can have the opinion with this dude, Andre. I think a lot of people can have the questions. Long pass is quality, bro. That's the thing. The long pass is absolutely quality. I think he can bring a lot to our team. He loves to pick up the ball from the goalkeeper, James, from goal kicks and take the ball forward and search for options, which is good. He's seen, chat, would you say that ball carrying, I haven't saw it too much in this compilation, but would you say he's a good ball carrier? He's someone who's always looking to progress the ball forward, because I think that's what Klopp wants. He wants players who can retain possession much better, which he's admitted himself in an interview. And then I think he's also looking for players who's going to add a lot to the right here right now in terms of defending, offensive, and also passing. That's what's required. Our personal terms agreed. Yes, according to reliable sources close to Andre, Manchester United inquired about him. And personal term, Andre has set his sights on going to Liverpool. He's happy with the personal terms in which have agreed. So the same way we have personal terms agreed with Lavia is kind of like this situation, minus the team in Chelsea who can spend billions and hijack our transfers. You know what I mean? So yeah, we've still got to be cautious though, because when you've only got personal terms agreed and not with the club, that leaves other teams like Man United, for instance, to negotiate. You know what I'm saying? Andre to Chelsea, here we go. Chelsea fans need to do one, man. Main attribute we need from a 6. Can he read the game to prevent counter-attacks, which is our Achilles heel at the moment? Very, very true. I do want to see more of that defensive aspect. See, this seems to be majority passing. Let me see if I can go a little bit further in and see him do bits in other aspects. Oh, we got a blimmin' advert. Got a blimmin' advert. Right. There we go. Is this him tackling the ball? Is this what? No, that's just him passing it again. Seems like a bit of a passing compilation chat. Yeah, that's him sort of reading the game, but it was more of a bad pass. There we go. Like a pack of wolves. That's what I like to see. Like a pack of wolves. This is him winning the ball back a bit more now. I loved him on the ball. I still need to see more about him off the ball and how much he can actually read the game well. You know what I'm saying? And again, in terms of this league, the systems in this league isn't quite as strong. But one thing you get in this league is a lot of silky ballers. So I'd imagine Andre to be very familiar in one-on-ones with players who are quality. I think so. So what I'm going to do as well, that'll be the end of the compilation. I think he looks solid. I'd need to see how he can read the game in the Premier League and keep up with the pace of the Premier League. We do tend to notice as well, some players who come from that part of the world might not match up with the intensity. But then, to be honest, that's actually not true. You think about the best DMs in the world in recent time, you think Fabinho, Casemiro. These are guys who come from that area. So that's why I'd sit there and say, you know what, why not? But just to reshare that source. So for those who didn't tune in at the start of the stream, you can see the source again. This isn't it. The source comes from Emmanuel Louise. So this is what he had to say. I'll have to play the clip again for you so you can get it. But this is somebody who went on Redmen TV. And he was speaking to people close to Andre and saying that a personal terms had agreed. So, yeah.
Manchester United went to Andre's camp to talk with them about a possible negotiation right now. What they said, the player has personal terms agreed with Liverpool, right? Personal terms already agreed. That's done. The player said to Fluminense, what? And I was talking with you before the interview. The situation was, today I called some guys that are close to Andre from the players' camp, and they said to me, Andre said to Fluminense, I want to go to Liverpool. Okay? I want to go. I have personal terms agreed. That's fine. But what Fluminense said, okay, but we are not going to sell right now because of Copa Libertadores. That we already know. Andre said, okay, so I'm going to talk to them.
That's right. So, yeah, Manchester United inquired.
Manchester United.
That's why it's gone a little bit further. So it's interesting. It really is interesting. A lot of people still seem to be on the Decore train. The more I watch, the more I am questions on Decore. He's never been my number one option, and I do think that there's things in which he lacks. For the 23-year-old, I don't think he really improves on some of these things too much. I wouldn't hate the option. I just do think value for money. You're probably looking at somebody like Andre, maybe thinking like, he might be better. And that's not me aligning with the finances of the football club or anything. I don't know if Decore is the guy. And it's always risky going out on a player like that when it's going to be hard to replace. Think about how hard it was to replace Oxlade-Chamberlain or Naby Keita. And you just don't want a player like that on your roster for an excessive amount of time. And I even watched Decore against Arsenal. There was fine things. And then there was things where I was like, do you elevate us? I don't know. And then I even watch Endo and I think, chat, Endo, he might be better than Doucouré. Now, that doesn't mean Endo is the guy, in a sense, to win us league titles, right? But it does mean that he's better than Doucouré. Why are we going to go and spend 5 times the price on someone who's inferior to one player? I just think it's a shout. I just think that Endo could maybe add a little bit more to the right here right now in terms of what we've got. That's not me trying to overgas him. I'm just saying. Big up to King Kenny. He says it's all about coaching. Mount would be a far better player if he comes to the pool, and the same for Ryan. Yes, but I also don't think they elevate us to league-winning players, which is why I wouldn't have taken Mason Mount, and why I'm also very sceptical on Gravenberch. 60 mil for Doucouré is too much, says Stronger Civilian. But these clowns were willing to pay 60 million for Lavia. I think that would have been worth it for Lavia. I think Lavia had all the attributes, and Klopp really wanted Lavia, so I would have went out there and actually, well, bear in mind, if it weren't for dumb negotiations, then we would have actually been able to get him for 50 million. But because we're dumb and we let Chelsea get in there, it raised. He may have agreed personal terms. This does not mean you're going to get him, as he is important for their Copal hopes. Well, yes, that's what I've mentioned if you were there from the start of the stream, Paul. So in terms of a summer or a winter deal, doesn't mean it's not unconfirmed. And we would also have to pay a price that they're happy with. If we wouldn't pay that price, then yes, of course, they're going to keep him. Hence why the title is agreed personal terms. But I hear what you're saying. Absolutely doesn't mean it's a done deal. And I'm sure you're responding to people in the chat who are saying, is it done? Is it done? No, personal terms are agreed. Andre is superior to Doucouré in possession. And what are we trying to do, chat? What are we trying to elevate to? We're trying to become a more possession-based team, according to the words of the manager. We've been trying to do it since we replaced Gini with Thiago. We just haven't been able to do it successfully. In fact, I'd even suggest since we signed Naby Keita, but Naby Keita never got a run of games, and Thiago was always out for the big games. So now you realise I can no longer rely on Thiago. So what do? We go out and get McAllister, who's great in possession. Szoboszlai, great in possession. And then now Andre, another player who's great in possession. And I'd say Andre, on the ball, is superior to Fabinho. Chat, is that a W or an L? Because I think Fabinho was always good enough on the ball. I don't think to be a world-class DM, you have to be classed as world-class on the ball. I think Andre seems to be superior on a technical basis to Fabinho in that sense. Fabinho had a mean shot and his pass was fine, but his actual, bringing the ball forward, ball carrying, I feel like he lacked in that department. And I do think at times he'd run out of options and play it back, which would limit the progression of the team. You know what I'm saying? Andre is not a DM, says Mane. But he does play that deep lying role, kind of the way McAllister has played as that deep lying role for us. I think we're now learning or trying to play games or win games in possession. So I hear your concerns, but I do think that we're trying to go with a bit of a stylistic different approach, which it just depends if you want to say a specialist 6 or a guy who's just can play that role to a degree. Shout out to GMB. Says, honestly, quality is good to acquire, but the combination of squad depth and good coaching prevails, especially when the players have passion displayed on the pitch. We need an army, not a cast of stars. That's right. And also, let's also think about the best team of all time that we've had. Alisson, not a star. Robertson, far from it. Trent was an academy player. Van Dijk and Matip, far from a star. Think of the whole midfield. Henderson, Gini, Fabinho. I'd say Fabinho is the closer thing to a star, and you could still question it. And then the front three, what was Salah before Liverpool, Mane before Liverpool, Firmino before Liverpool. All these guys were questions. All these guys were considered potential flops. So when we analyse the business that we've done, now my aim is to say, okay, then you've got Endo. I don't know who Endo is, but I'm willing to give you a chance because I didn't know a lot of these players, and they ended up being one of the best teams or forming the best teams that I've seen of all time. And I've also seen big signings like Naby Keita and Oxlade-Chamberlain, and they haven't really gone well. So now I'm thinking, okay, if we do go and get 60 million on Doucouré, it doesn't mean 60 million for Doucouré is better than 34 million for Andre, just because he's Premier League experienced, or just because you might think he's more of a DM. I don't think he's necessarily a specialist as a DM. Watch the Arsenal game. I don't think that's what I received. And I think some people have that perception of Doucouré. I think some people think he's an out-and-out 6. Let's go and spend 60 million. And then they think because it's 60 million and it's coming from a Premier League team, this guy is now going to be superior. I don't agree with this. I think we need to go for the players who are going to adhere to what Klopp is trying to do. And if we keep neglecting what Klopp is trying to do, then you're going to get what we've been getting, which is falling short of success and then also not doing well enough on the trophy front. And we've actually got considerably worse as well whenever we've tried to include certain things. Shout out to Willem. He says, Alisson was the best keeper on the market. What do you mean? He wasn't necessarily a star, though. No, I wouldn't say Alisson was a star. A best keeper on the market. So you're saying that he was the best goalkeeper in the world, or are you saying he was the best goalkeeper available? I think I hear what you're saying. I don't think you heard what I said. He wasn't a star. He was a dude from Roma who was considered potentially really good. He wasn't necessarily someone who was established. So when Real Madrid signed Courtois, they bought an established goalkeeper, correct? When PSG signed Keylor Navas, they are signing an established goalkeeper. It's just a little bit different. I think Alisson was established to a good level. Nobody expected him to get to the best in the world, which is the conversations that he's in now. So, yeah, if you want to be picky on me where it's fair, but I'm just saying that I think overall he weren't necessarily that type of dude. Shout out to Dylan. He says, I'd wait till January for Andre, to be honest. We have Sobo, Mac, Thiago, Bajcetic, Endo, Elliott, and as options. That's right. That's right. But don't you think there's a bit too much offense there? Because I'm looking at Bajcetic and Endo as my only CDM options. Now I think, okay, what happens when one of them gets injured? We've got a bit of an issue, you know what I'm saying? Who's then that new defensive outlook? Because then you could say Thiago, but I don't know. I would love it to get all the players that we need from the start of the season. I hate it when I think when we waited on Gakpo for January, I think that hindered our chances of getting top 4. I think if we had him from the start, it's another option that Klopp can work with. And I think Klopp even realised halfway through the season, like, we play better with this type of dude, a false 9. Chat, do you agree with that, WRL? And then also Diaz, quadruple chasing season, started to tail off. Where we really started to chase that quadruple was when Diaz came in the team. I'm just saying, like, it's an important factor to take into consideration, you know? Shout out to Honesty Hortensia. He says, I don't know Andre, so if he joins, of course, I would give him a chance. That's right. That's right. It's about giving him an opportunity. It's not about being happy with the overall business. The same way we haven't had to be happy with the business in recent times. Last summer, you could say it was a failure to some degree, and summers previous. But you know, you've still got to go with Jurgen Klopp's philosophy, whether you like it or you don't. It's like, if you don't like it, well, what do you think about the manager? Do you want him in or do you want him out? And because I want him in, it'd be a hypocritical thing to say that I'm not going to support these players. Just because I didn't like the look of Nunes before he joined, and I don't think he's done that well since he joined, doesn't mean I'm not going to support him or give him a chance. But I can still call out, I don't think he's given us what we've needed so far. And I do think if he's not on a thin rope, he will be on a thin rope soon if he doesn't really get into that first team, you know? Big up to Jason. He says, Sobo to be the signing of the summer, going under the radar and has been amazing without being unleashed in his attacking role. That's right. Incredible player. Someone who's going to massively add to the team right now. I am saying that he's going to be top 3 players in the league, or considered, you know, there and thereabouts in that position at the end of the season. No doubt. No doubt. I think he's going to make a huge impact and he's going to add so many goals to our team. So direct, so good. Me gusta. Sign Andre now. We need him because Thiago is injury prone, says. Hate him. And the rest, like Elliott, Jones, are not all that. That's right. That's right. And also not defensive. So it's not even that like Jones and Elliott aren't all that. Offensively, they can offer us a lot. But as a well-rounded midfielder, I think Andre is certainly more one of those, you know? Shout out to Jamie Phillips. He says, I would rather get Andre in now because he has to adapt it to the league and could be important to the end of the season. That's right. That's right. But at the same time, you know, this is what I mean. It's more of a signing next season because even if he comes in January, he's now adapting to fit and be prepared for next year. That's kind of what happened with Diaz and, you know, Gakpo and whatever have you. So, yeah, I agree. I think it's more productive. Let him get those tough spells out the way now. But again, no, it depends because you've got to bear in mind on deadline day, the Copa Libertadores, I believe it's the semi-final. Fluminense are in that competition. So if they get knocked out of that competition, maybe they're going to be more willing to sell Andre. I mean, I don't know how much they've still got ambitions to win the league, and I don't know where they are in the league and the context of it all. But maybe they're thinking, I'm more open to the idea of, you know, bringing in Andre for £34 million. That could be productive. So, yeah, I think that could be. I think it's better if we get him in the summer. I just don't see the club rushing to get him in. If they've got personal terms agreed and they don't fear any competition to swoop in, what's the need in rushing from their perspective, even though I get him? Shout out to Aquila. Big up to you. They say, get Andre in now, title contender or top 5. So you're saying if we get Andre in, we're a title contender? And of course, you're referencing top 5 because that's 5 Champions League places. So, chat, do you agree? Do you think Andre, Enzo, Sobo and McAllister make us a title challenging team? I do still think we're lacking a centre-back. Although, Virgil van Dijk's been amazing since the start of the season. He really has. He's been class. But then I'll still question an injury to one of those dudes. Do we trust Gomez and Matip? You know what I'm saying? But I do think because we're not going to sell Nat Phillips, we're not going to get a centre-back. I've said that for quite a while now. It doesn't make too much sense for us to have 6 centre-backs when we've been happy with going into a season with 3 before. Liam Granby, big up to you, my mate. Liam, you was in my stream. You was mentioned in my video yesterday. If you want to go and check that out, I don't know if you've seen it. Your tweet in response to, I think it was something about our window. I would also like to Corey all day long. He just sits in and cleans everything up. And he's good on the ball. His first thought is to get the ball forward. And if he can't, he plays the simple pass, love a tackle. Do you know what's good about that, though? He is good on the ball, right? But then Andre's better. So we'd be going more forward or we'd be more offensive. He's a better ball carrier and he's also a better passer than Decore. Where Decore probably supersedes Andre as defensive. Maybe, obviously, with the Premier League experience, then you can say he adheres more to the team right here, right now. But I'm going to say that Andre is maybe a slight preference for me. Because I just think that he is just an all-round slightly better player, you know what I'm saying? Massive shout-out to Jamie again. Oh, no, I lost that comment. Smash those likes, chat. Nearly 800 people in the stream. Amazing to see. And just in case for those tuning in, quick little update. I've said it a couple of times. I'll say it again for those who tune in. That's the thing of the streams. We've agreed personal terms according to close people in the camp of Andre with Liverpool. So Andre and Liverpool have agreed personal terms. What remains to be seen is agreeing a fee with the football club. And we know this due to Manchester United inquiring about Andre. And that was the information they were given. He has a release clause. If LFC activate that, he will come this summer. That's right. But then do we want to pay £34 million from a league or from a dude who's in a league where we've seen players like Julian Alvarez go for less, and even us was offered Enzo Fernandez for 15 million? That's important because now we're thinking, why are we spending double the price for a dude who's slightly older than those two guys? I just think it's one that might be worth negotiating. But yes, I do think it benefits us more on the pitch, which should be the main priority. It benefits us significantly more on the pitch just to get him in straight away, because the more we dilly-dally about, we are going to fall behind the same way we did in previous seasons. Big shout-out to Michael Edwards. Oh, please come back, sir. Please come back. I get on my hands and fucking knees. He says, everyone here just looking through FIFA 23 player list of midfielders and saying we could get them. People are just going with what they know, mate, which is fine. We're not all scouts. That's why I understand if people have a preference of Decore over Andre. They're like, listen, we know what he can do. We know that he's good enough. We don't know if this Andre dude becomes better. So even though I'm fine with Andre, and I'm actually starting to slightly prefer Andre over Decore, I understand completely why people have the doubts on Andre, because they're not avid watchers of the Brazilian league, which is fair enough. Unless Marcelo's breaking legs. Big up to Mantaz. Afsari says, have the LFC not learned their lesson over penny pinching Andre as a release clause? But again, we are bidding under. That's right. The difference was with Lavia, that weren't a release clause. That's why the price ended up going higher. But it was as certain as of a release clause that you were going to get. But you're right. The more we neglect the deal, the more it gives another team to swoop in and get the player. And now that we're linked with the player, it puts other team scouts more eyes on this player. It's like, well, if Liverpool are linked with him, we might have to have a look at him. And that's why Manchester United inquired about him. Shout out to Shabazz. Big up to you, sir. He says, Andre has played 3,400 minutes since April. He's knackered. Played 29 games in high-intense games in Brazil. We need to secure the deal for January. His season ends in December. Let him rest until January. Nah, though, because I understand what you're saying. I don't care. I don't care about your feelings, and I don't care about your fitness. If you're a footballer, you're a footballer. And if Klopp wants to bed him in and not play him in the earlier games, which he'll probably do, then fine. If you want to give him a rest, great. You can give a player 2-3 weeks rest, and that's it. You know what I mean? And then he's back to going again. If he's good enough, you get him in. You get him in. When you see players like Pedri and players like that playing unlimited amount of games over the course of 12 months, like you've just said, 29 games. If he comes to us, he's probably going to play 40. In the span of 12 months to play 70 games, you know, not a mess. I know what you're saying. It's good to have a break every once in a while. Big up to Jack Kelly, who became a YouTube member. A massive shout out to everybody who does become a YouTube member. More support on the channel means that I can do more of these videos, get more of them out there for you. We can keep growing together, and I massively appreciate all the support, chat. I can never thank you enough for all the super chats, the financial support, the likes, the comments. Literally cannot do it without you. Just know, always appreciated when that does happen, and they always get read out and stuff like that. Shout out to Dylan. Realistically, if we get Andre, we'd have Enzo, Andre, then McAllister as rotation. if they need rest. Also, Thiago, don't ever disprove Thiago being able to play in that position, because he can do a job there. Not an out-and-out CDM, can do a job in that position. James put it in this way: Endo plus Andre or Decore would be similar price. I'm taking first combo, but bring in another midfield option as well. I agree. But then I would also say, if the club have a preference for Decore as a player, I wouldn't let the price tag interfere too much with that. I really wouldn't. It's not about my preference. It's about the club's preference. So if that's the case, I'd sit there and say, go out and get Decore, see what he can do. You know what I mean, man? That's important. Liverpool signs him now to secure his value before it goes up. Yeah, we do need to sign him. 40 million release clause means release. That can happen right away. That's right. But then if we're wanting to bid and maybe get him for 25 million or something like that, I know that we're not all a big fan of penny pinching, but I'm just letting you know what could be the mentality of the football club right now. Maybe they're not looking to rush into signing someone like this. So it will be interesting. Big up to Wisdom, my first super chat, James. Oh, thank you so much. And it's right, you made it to today's stream. We're also live tonight at 8:30 p.m. So we're going to be live tonight at 8:30 p.m. I'm also doing a live stream with Kieran, who's a good friend of mine. He's a funny dude, and he's a Wolves fan, but he's just a funny guy, you know what I'm saying, chat? So you'll enjoy that one. So he's going to come on. We're going to do a bit more of a Liverpool Premier League show. So it's not just Liverpool, it's Premier League. So that'll adhere to people who want to talk about other teams. So that'll be at 4 p.m. But at 8:30 p.m., it's me, it's Hussam, it's Tom, and it's Monts. Going to be a stack show. Thank you for that, though, Wisdom. You're lovely. Thank you. Big up to Michael Edwards. I miss you, my guy. I miss you, fam. Hopefully, we'll be back in a season or two. Facts, bro. Well, if you get back in a season or two, then we'll be flying. You know what I mean? But bring in your knowledge and expertise, fam, and we'll be back to business. Maybe the club don't see Andre's value of 40 million and they want to pay around 25 million. Exactly. It's because someone has a release clause doesn't mean you have to pay to get them. That's right. It's just they're saying the same way that Romeu, or what's his name, the guy who used to play for Southampton and Chelsea, who now plays for Barca, he has a £400 million release clause. We're not going to pay £400 million for him, but, you know, we'll probably offer about £3 million on a packet of skip. So then that's where you can look at it a little bit differently. He has been my first choice CDM. Also, mate, he is class. If he comes, he will realise how good he is for LFC. He is the missing piece of the midfield jigsaw. Believe me. That's going to be a banger, lad. No, me, Hussam, and Tom, and Mons, when we get together, it's a stack show. So just know that's 8:30 p.m. UK time. But yeah, I think we've covered a lot of things in this video. We got the news out the way. We was able to watch a compilation, which was always boss. But what would be even grand if you guys could smash a like on your way out. And when the video is done, if you can leave a comment, that would be even better, chat, because you know that it gets it more in the algorithm. I want to shout out to everyone who sent a super chat in today, as I always like to do, or became a member, or stayed a member. Big up to Aquila, who sent in a super chat. Big up to Jack. Big up to Wisdom, my G, old timer, becoming an OG of the JRTV YouTube channel, and then Michael Edwards as well, which I'm sure we all agree that we miss massively. But yeah, man, big up to Paniscaus, big up to Kieran Jarvis, big up to Jamie Grant. Great to see so many people becoming more regular in the stream. And without further ado, guys, I'll see you all later. Peace out. Sayonara.